Good evening, sharps and squares, degenerates and casual bettors. I'm the Wizard of Odds, Christopher Smith, and this is the SEC Country Gambling Show presented by MyBookie. We're live every Thursday night from Atlanta, Georgia, and on this show we have one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to win you some cold, hard cash. And I'm joined, as I am every week, by Steve Petrella, the Sheriff. How are you doing today, Sheriff?
I'm fantastic. Can't wait to watch some quality football this weekend.
Made any big arrests this week? As the Sheriff?
Yeah, Tennessee's athletic director.
They should be arrested. Should be out of here.
And fired into the sun.
All right, before we get into this week's SEC Championship game, let's look at my power rankings through the end of the regular season. And as you can see here, Auburn has regained or debuting as the #1 team in the SEC after having beaten Georgia and Alabama in the last 3 weeks. And LSU and Mississippi State, you see some separation there after Mississippi State lost the Egg Bowl. And then we turn the page to a disgusting group of teams against the spread. As you can see, my numbers 9 through 14 in the SEC, all big losers against the number this year. And if you look, there's a lot of teams that aren't even 5 and 7. Yeah. Tennessee 3 and 9, Florida 3 and 8, Kentucky 3 and 9.
Yeah, if you just auto faded a couple of those teams, you would have had
the bottom end of the SEC awful this year. Top end very good, bottom very, very bad. Yeah. So let's go ahead and look at the lines for championship week, and I think I have the Power 5 games on here. As you guys know, Auburn and Georgia has vacillated between 1 and 3. It's holding at 2.5 right now as of this show, this morning on Thursday. And then all the other lines are within a touchdown with the exception of the Clemson game against Miami. Of course, Miami lost the first time all season against Pitt. I think it was Friday last week after Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. But we're here to talk about which game again, Steve?
I think it's the SEC game.
I think it's the SEC game.
Rematch.
It is, and let me just go ahead and get this out of the way. I've been saying this in the office all week. People, stop with the, what is it again?
It's hard to beat a team twice.
It's hard to beat a team twice in the same season. Whoever came up with that line needs to be shot into the sun. I mean, there's a reason that teams win in the first place. Like, as a runner in track in college, if I beat a guy in the first race, I wouldn't have been like, oh, we can't beat him again. Yeah. I beat him because I was faster than he was.
Right.
So, first of all, let's get into that. Second of all, I do think this will be a closer game than it was in the first game. Georgia committed a bunch of silly penalties that first week that really gave Auburn an advantage. Auburn had Kerryon Johnson healthy, making a bunch of Georgia defenders miss, tons of tackles. And the game just got out of hand. It was in Auburn. I think this crowd should be partisan in favor of Georgia. What do you think most interesting about this game?
Obviously, the Kerryon Johnson injury is something we're looking closely at. But to me, it's looking at the box score from last game and just kind of how fluky it was. I think there were 57 points scored in that game. But if you just look at the stats and how each team moved the ball, probably should have been more like 40, high 30s. So I'm certainly looking at the under. That's something I'm interested in. Just because of sort of the perception that Auburn's offense absolutely blew the doors off of Georgia's defense last time. And
yeah, absolutely. Look at the under. And I think, forget Kerryon Johnson maybe being injured. Mm-hmm. I think Auburn's going to win this game at the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. That's where they dominated Georgia last time they played. Offensive line, but especially that defensive line. Georgia's been able to run the ball effectively against most everybody in the country this year. And they've got a great backfield. But it doesn't matter how good your backfield is. If you're getting hit by 2 or 3 defenders behind the line of scrimmage every single time you get the football, there's not much you can do. Mm-hmm. I don't see how that's going to change, from 3 weeks ago until now, if you're Auburn and Georgia. And then on the other side of the ball, if Kerryon Johnson is not running the ball or not healthy, then it's on Jarrett Stidham. And what we know about Stidham is he's been, like most quarterbacks are, he's been way more effective when he has time to throw. Clemson didn't give him time to throw. He struggled in that game. And if you're not respecting the run, it's much easier to sell out, put a bunch of guys in the box, blitz, and then give Stidham trouble. So I think 20-17, maybe the final score in this game, which would be under. I also like Auburn to win this game, 20-17. Now, the line, 2.5, 3, it's not a huge play for me because I think the line's pretty good at this point. I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia won, But I don't think just because it was a fluke game was in Auburn and now Kerryon Johnson's hurt and you can't beat a team twice.
Right.
That's not reason for me to pick Georgia in this game. So I'm going with Auburn, -2.5. But like you said, I like the under more than I like the side on this game.
Yeah. Where do you think this line ends up? It's kind of been jumping around a little bit. Do you think it gets over 3 at any point, or it'll kind of settle around 2.5?
If it gets over 3, and this is how, if you're a professional gambler, which we aren't, but we know a little bit about gambling, it sounds weird to say this if you're out there and you don't have a lot of experience gambling. At -2.5, I think Auburn may have a higher percentage of the bets. If it were to go to -3.5, I actually think the sharps would flip and then start hammering the Georgia line.
Right.
So margin in this game, very small, but 3 is the key number, obviously, in football with a field goal.
Yep.
And so I'd be curious to see where the line ends up as well, but I wouldn't. My prediction is that it stays around 2.5 and just holds there. It may even go down to 2 at some point if there's some big bets on Georgia.
Yeah, a lot of the best bettors in the world bet numbers and not as much teams. Because the lines are so good anyway. You can get a point edge. You take it. So 3.5 would be very interesting, but I agree. I don't think it gets.
The only thing that I'm worried about with the under is I got this early in the week at 49, and I don't think there's going to be 7 touchdowns scored in this game. But now it's crept down, 47.5, 47. It may even go below 47. So if you're seeing this and you are interested in the under and you still like that price, go get it now, because by game time it could be even lower than it is now. And I think at this point, if I was betting on it, it's kind of lost some of its value.
Yeah.
But I do have a couple more picks. Before we get to those, remind everybody where they should be putting their money.
It's mybookie.ag. We've been saying it all season. Been working with them all season. It's been fantastic. If you use the promo code SEC Wizard, they will double your deposit, 100%, right down below.
Right there.
And we both, seriously, we use mybookie. We both love it. Easy to get money on, easy to get money off, which is rare for an online sports book. Very user-friendly, great lines, great live betting. Just the best place to bet, in my opinion.
Yeah, and if you followed our picks all season, you've got a good bankroll going on now.
Yeah.
If you haven't, it's a great time to start. You got the college football playoff, the Super Bowl, college basketball, and March Madness not too far around the corner. Hockey, Jags.
The Jaguars.
Go ahead and get some money down now with that promo code. And I'll go ahead and give you some picks as well outside of just the SEC Championship game side, as you're going to be able to see on the screen here for the rest of these games. I do like Memphis. I think that line may even be 7.5 now in terms of Memphis getting 7.5 points against Central Florida. Of course, Scott Frost getting ready to head to Nebraska on a plane as soon as that game is over. Memphis, I believe, has scored 70 points in 3 games this season. Their first matchup with UCF didn't go so well, but I think they're going to have a much better outing this time. I do like Ohio State and the Big Ten Championship game. I know Steve and I, the sheriff and I, differ on that game. But I think Wisconsin hasn't played a team as good as Ohio State all year. I'm worried about Wisconsin being able to score the football in that game. And you saw the other picks that I've made on this board for this week. Not a ton of them. We're down to the championship game week plus some Sun Belt games. But those are the ones that I like. Feel free to follow my advice, or you can take the advice of the legend, the man, the myth, the legend that should go nameless. In terms of our lock of the week, we've featured him every week. I believe he's 7-5 heading into championship week. So if he wins this week, that's 8-5. That's pretty good percentage, pretty good money there.
Yeah.
But I listen to this guy every week. You should too. Let's go ahead and take a look at the final lock of the week prior to bowl season.
3, 2, 1. Lock of the week. Auburn Tigers.
That is one giant Christmas tree.
Sure is. Jeez.
Man, doesn't look easy. But
No.
a man that can step up to that kind of challenge, betting on the Auburn Georgia is going to be pretty easy for him.
Lock of the week guy.
And I'm pretty sure that you had Auburn last week, 2 weeks ago against Georgia as well.
Yeah.
So,
You've been high. You and him have been high on Auburn all season. No reason to change now.
quite the coincidence as well.
Yeah.
But
Great minds think alike.
yeah, we both like Auburn this weekend and the under. Try to find the best price that you can. Go to mybookie.ag to do it. And this is just a reminder, Auburn at 9-2 on a hot streak against the spread as well. good teams win and great teams cover. Auburn could be a good and great team this weekend to get into the playoff. Good luck out there. Gamble responsibly. God bless America. And we will talk to you next week once we know the bowl pairings in the college football playoff.